Sunny day in Illinois. Great way to start off the month of June between these sides. We are underway between the Chicago Red Stars and the North Carolina Courage. Aaron Wright, who comes into the starting 11, replaces Kayla Sharples in the back. Pugh. Out by Matthias. This will run by Watt. Abby Ursig goes to work. All of a sudden you've got Ursig and Caldwell together in front of Casey Murphy. That's not going to be an easy code to crack for Chicago today.
And I talked to Paul Riley about that this week, just about what Abby Ursig adds to this line. It's that leadership not only on the pitch, but what she does off the pitch that really dictates the tempo in the game, really dictates where this team is going. She's that leader, and one thing that she's really cleaned up is the ability just to drive through the midfield with the ball at her feet. When she first came to North Carolina, she struggled with the ball at her feet and really driving through players, sucking midfielders out of her position. And Paul Riley, and I agree with Paul Riley, one of the best center backs in this league.
6th year with the franchise, going back to Western New York for Paul Riley. Casey Murphy in control. Started now all 4 games of the regular season for North Carolina. Pickett. North Carolina, they come off a 5-0 win against Racing Louisville. Ursig scored in the 7th minute. Spoke with the Louisville head coach, Christy Holly, the lead up to their match tonight. He said they came with Sam Mewis and a point to prove. Lynn Williams saying after that game, we made it a point to finish our chances and put Louisville away. They certainly did that. So find Pugh. Chicago on the front foot to start. Karam's off Matthias, corner.
And just getting to your point with coming off a big 5-0 win, I think too it adds confidence to players, especially someone like a Lynn Williams that wasn't getting consistently on the score sheet. Mace coming off the bench and adding to, and again, just that firepower and working with obviously Mewis coming back into the lineup, getting her fitness up for the NWSL, super important. And Paul Riley touched on that midweek. Can she keep her fitness level up for 90 minutes in this game?
Played 71 minutes against Louisville. Corner here for the Red Stars. It's Gautreau, second header back across, gets out. Well, if you're Chicago, you have to be pleased at the outset.
Chicago's really come out on the front foot here today, pressing high up the pitch, using the pace of Watt, Pugh, and Hill, getting at this back line, and then taking advantage of these set-piece opportunities. Great ball into the box, player back post, maybe not unmarked again, trying to keep this one in the mix. It doesn't come off, but I like this pressure that they're putting on early on North Carolina.
A little taste of their own medicine, perhaps. This turned over by Debinha. Gautreau plays it forward. Kalia Watt. Watt tried to drive. Ursig slides in. Another corner for Chicago in the 5th minute.
And this is a brilliant defensive play from Ursig. She gets caught out. It's a fantastic run from Kalia Watt. She's known for this, getting inside of that center back channel. And then she's got the pace and the vision and awareness to make this come off. Abby Ursig cleans up the mess that she started. She was on the wrong side of Kalia Watt, completely lost the sight of where Kalia went in behind her. So well done for her early on in this match.
Tierna Davidson will step to the corner for Chicago. Pinged all the way through the penalty area. Waldmo. Kruger. DiBernardo away to North Carolina.
And those are those transitional moments that I touched on in the pregame, just with the players that they do for Chicago. Obviously switching from that, we used to see that diamond midfield into the 3 up top. Kaylia Watt usually playing on that width. Now they have her as that target number 9. So she's got the pace, she's got the power, but it's when the ball is at her feet that she is so dangerous and clinical in front of that net.
Pugh is switched onto the right side here for the time being. All 3 players up front have such unique qualities, Hill, Pugh, and Watt, that you can move them around a little bit and find different combinations that can be successful.
Well, and it's the on-field rotation, and you're starting to see it here. Kaylia starting at that number 9. She's rolled out to this left-hand side. Pugh rolling out to the right-hand side. So it's extremely difficult for a defender when you've looked at game footage, trying to figure out, obviously you focused on someone that's usually playing on your side. So when you have that rotation, it comes down to good communication that they need to have in this back 4 in order just to clean up the runs from Chicago.
How much time do you spend on that during the week when you're watching film and getting on the training ground?
Well, when you're going up against a side like Chicago, when you have the 3 class players that they have up top, hours.
This will chip off DiBernardo. Kept that in for a moment. Caldwell puts it out. Should be noted, Rory Dames was away for much of the week to work on his pro coaching license. It is a FIFA break and an MLS break. And to some extent still. Look at Watt. Watt turns, got the shot away. Casey Murphy dives on it.
And Kaylia Watt's not only good getting in behind the back 4, but also with the back towards the net. She can turn, she can roll players because she's got the strength to do it. And then she's just hungry for the net.
Another turnover high up the field. There's the chance. Watt turns. Recovered by Pugh. Pugh finally got a shot away. That deflects, and Mewis comes back to recover. North Carolina really uncharacteristically sloppy on the pass. And again, taken over by Chicago. It's Pugh. DiBernardo with space and time. Murphy dove. That was blocked before it got there. And the attack continues. It's a Red Star tidal wave so far. Hill. Murphy claims.
And that's that wave of pressure that I alluded to early on with Watt, Pugh, and Hill. All 3 of them getting potential shots on target, starting with Kaylia Watt playing with her back towards the net, then Mallory Pugh picking it up top of the box. I think there was a moment where she could have slipped Kaylia Watt in front, and then Hill just putting a great cross into the box, just no runners going to that front post.
Gordon did well to range back in the first place, but that was out of her reach. And a throw for North Carolina. Jessica McDonald, a goal and an assist through 3 games. The 33-year-old prepared to go long but goes short. Pickett returns. McDonald clips. Finds Hill. Boots it away.
And this is that build-up play, just the strength, get this ball behind. But it's this spin that Kaylia Watt is so good at. That's that ball toward, where their back's towards the net, takes this on her right, quickly turns the defender, because the defender is touch tight, and so she has the ability to do this in tight spaces.
Kept here by North Carolina. When she first came in to Chicago, Rory Dames so high on her IQ as a player, but trying to get her to see the next step before it happens. Good leading ball by Pugh. Hill.
2 missed opportunities from Chicago moving forward, and both with Kaylia Ojai. First opportunity was Mallory Pugh picking it up on the box, and Kaylia Watt left open in that 18-yard box, and then another opportunity. Rachel Hill picking this one up on that quick switch, and Watt just rolling off, and that's that IQ that you just alluded to. Having that knowledge just to roll off those 2 back defenders and try to get Rachel Hill to whip that ball in back post with an on-runner of Watt.
Saw Watt, there's Rory Dames. The club going back to 2011, predating the league. Comes to Nair. O'Sullivan. Grabbed by Pugh. She has been an absolute monster to start the season. Flicks this wide. Hill with runners. This deflected away, struck on the first time. Tremendous first 11 minutes from Chicago.
It really is. They've been on the front foot. We haven't called any of the midfielders' name for North Carolina Courage. I think that was the first time I've heard you say O'Sullivan. So for moving forward in this game, this midfield of North Carolina need to come alive. They need to get on the ball and not get caught out in transition, because when you're not on the ball, you shouldn't be getting done out defensively, and especially where Chicago is threatening is down that width with Hill, Pugh rolling into the midfield, and then Kalia Watt leading this front line.
And Rory Dames wasn't dismissive at all. He said, I don't think any less of North Carolina than I did before with the player movement in and out. But until they lose a game that matters, he said, they're still the team you worry about most. This takes a deflection, skips off the top of the net. Will be a corner here for Chicago, but Rory Dames said this is a North Carolina side that they feel they match up with well, and it shows in their record, 2-2-2 in their last 6 meetings going back to 2019.
It is, and we've heard Paul Riley say against Chicago that we haven't gone up against a front three with this pace this season so far, so we haven't really been tested defensively. And then going to Rory Dames, he's come out with a game plan here today. He's on the front foot, he's winning that midfield battle, and then he's catching North Carolina in that transition.
This will be Davidson on the corner. Toward Kruger, there's a touch from Murphy. Still more here for the Red Stars. Waldmo. Waldmo's 4th appearance for Chicago, coming over in a trade from Gotham in the offseason. 28 years old, from Fort Wayne, Indiana. From DiBernardo. DiBernardo now. Early ball, simple for Murphy. If you're North Carolina, how do you change the momentum of this game right now?
You need someone like a Sam Mewis to live on the ball, someone, or even an O'Sullivan, getting the ball off this back line, because right now they're not connecting passes, they're not finding that midfield platform, so they're unable to get the ball into their most dangerous players up top.
Down to O'Sullivan. Bernardo speared it outside, right high up the field. Dime initially dropped into Pickett, but it is Waldmo stepping over now. I'm really excited to see what the Waldmo and Gautrat combination will continue to develop into. Has all the potential to be one of the best in the league.
Well, you can see early on here in the game just the vocal communication that they have, the ability to live on the ball and dictate where players are going in front of you. They're having Hill and Pugh drop in defensively, almost making 5 through that midfield, so they're creating that overload. So North Carolina doesn't have that outlet pass, and then they're winning the first and second phase. That comes down to those 2 players you just touched on, having that leadership and really that vocal guidance in order for players to be in the right positions.
Sullivan unable to corral it. Mallory Pugh starts the other way. Work through Hill. Closing in on 15 minutes. 2 of the league's dominant powers squaring off. Nice shimmy into space. This will get over Pugh and find Hill. First effort, no. Second ball, Karam's out. Gautrat. Obviously feathered ball, but no run from Watt. That may be an acknowledgement of your point, having Mewis drop in and get that early touch in the possession. It's given away again here short of the halfway line. Comes to Solon. Watt got a piece. And this will reverse all the way to Murphy.
And sometimes it takes a player like a Sam Mewis to really settle the team, set the tempo, because Chicago's dropping defensively and they're making that bank of 5 through the midfield. It's difficult to play through, so you need some rotation.
Excellent ball, but offside for Lynn Williams.
You need that rotation, and you need players like Mewis maybe to drop through, push O'Sullivan up, just like Chicago's doing up top with Pugh, Watt, and Hill. They're all that rotating. So again, defensively, it's so hard to pick up. You need to have that communication, and it really unsteadies the team. But then they need to play quicker, because right now it's too slow. They're not hitting sideways passes. They're hitting it back to their defenders, and then that's that slow ball into the midfield that obviously Chicago's just pouncing all over.
See Sam Mewis there, first start in her return from England a week ago. An unmitigated success without doubt against Louisville. And it was pretty tightly contested for the first hour. And then North Carolina scores 4 in the last 30 minutes, and it's tied for the most lopsided scoreline of the season in the league. Draw, shadowed by McDonald. Floated long, but offside. Urseg, Mewis. Kruger, well weighted. Hill leading ahead for Watt. The offside flag is up again.
And this is just a second opportunity that Hill's just misread Watt's run. Again, holding on for it just a little bit too long. I'd love to see Rachel Hill just get her head up, release that just seconds earlier. You can see Watt just having to slow up this run here, which then loses her pace, loses her momentum of moving forward, and then gets caught offside with doing her run.
Sullivan. This will come out and down the line. Lofted and finds Nair with the defensive header from Gordon. Mewis got the return from McDonald. Referee allows play to continue. This will get down to Pickett. Early cross. Vigna couldn't entirely recover.
You can see how compact Chicago is right now. Defensively, they've been so sound for 19 minutes. Can they keep progressing this for a full 90-minute here performance? So for North Carolina Courage, they're continuing to try to play through this midfield. It hasn't worked. It hasn't come off. Passes have been sloppy. So sometimes you need to play that Route 1 football and just open up the team parts, push Chicago back a little bit, drop that back four so you have more room to then play in front of you moving forward.
Again, the midfield stifles North Carolina. Advantage played for Pugh to attack. Mallory Pugh running out of room. This will be a goal kick. What about Mallory Pugh has impressed you most? We've seen her impact on the score sheet, both scoring and assisting, but beyond the obvious.
This right here, we're getting a close-up of what she brings to the side. The ability to want to win, the ability to expect the best out of the team, both on and off the pitch. She leads by example, and she backs it up with her play. She has this season now. For someone like herself, can she stay healthy? Can she stay fit for a season and really push to get back into that U.S. women's national team? Because she's got the skills to do it. She's got the mindset to do it.
Player who, as a teenager, became a regular within the national team. That's a foul from McDonald. So no one doubts the capabilities of Mallory Pugh. Now it's just seeing that translate. And scoring in the 4th minute last game, you might think that's a confidence builder. Asked Rory Dames about that and just said the journey for Mallory Pugh is so much bigger than one individual goal. But you do want to see her be fit. They're mindful of her health and making sure you get the best out of her this year. Did acknowledge any goal scorer who grabs a goal. That helps with momentum and the confidence.
Well, it
never hurts.
It really does. And obviously, we saw it with North Carolina last week with those 5 goals. They've come out really slow here. I'm actually surprised, especially coming off with such a big win. They've had a week to recovery. So it's been a little bit shocking that it's been so sloppy in the midfield. So they need to improve this. Again, maybe trying to switch it up tactically, trying to go a little bit more route one. We haven't seen Davinia get the ball at her feet and take on 2-3 players because Chicago hasn't even allowed them to get past that first line in midfield with O'Sullivan and Solon.
And part of the conversation coming out of the last game was how Mewis and Dabinia helped create openings in which to play for O'Sullivan and Solon. So there is sort of an ebb and flow here, isn't there? If you play a little more direct, does that open things up in midfield? It's always a cat and mouse game, isn't it?
It is, but when you do play that route one football, you have to have the mindset that you need to win first and second phase because Chicago's got those leaders in the back that are going to win that aerial threat. Now, for North Carolina, you have the midfielders of Mewis, Dabinia especially, that is that little pit bull. She's going to fight for those passes or those knockdowns, and she has the ability to take on 2-3 players. And then you have Mewis with that big body. She's got that great aerial presence as well. So yes, play route one football, but you need to have the players to win that first or that second and third phase.
Lost by O'Sullivan, and Gautreau pirouettes out of that pressure. Well done by Pickett. Now there's a little room to play in transition here for North Carolina. Chance to swing a ball through for Dabinia. With North Carolina extended. Pugh begins to slalom through the defense. I want to know exactly how many yards that run was.
Too many, and I'm glad that you touched on that. North Carolina dropped so early. They had so much space, and this is where they will get done in that transition. They were a 4v2 at the back. There is no need to drop 20 extra yards in order for Mallory Pugh just to run into and gain that space and allow more players to get up and support with numbers around her.
DiBernardo now scoreless in the 25th minute between Chicago and North Carolina. Flex away, throw to come for Aaron Wright. Side flag raised as DiBernardo is looping back through for the return. Extra tap. That'll find Kruger with ease. And Alyssa Nair takes over for Chicago.
It's just been so sloppy in that midfield role, whether it's the two front runners or the four midfielders playing in that box midfield. They get the ball into good areas and they get on the half turn, and then it's just that forced last pass, whether it's a sloppy touch or a ball into a player that has 2-3 players in around him. They have the ability to drive at players. They have the ability to suck defenders out in order to open up team parts. So one of these 6 players for North Carolina need to come alive in this game.
So is that coming to the ball and working off the dribble to try and create that, or what's the best way to advance that theory?
Securing the first pass. Right now everything is 4, so you're getting the ball again in dangerous areas in that midfield, and then it's a panic mode that sets in, and they shouldn't have that panic mode. They have some of the best players in that midfield unit that can live on the ball, and what I mean by live on the ball, take 2-3 players on, drive at defenders, and again that opens up team parts.
It strikes me that Chicago has been fairly balanced defensively either, because North Carolina can ping a 60-yard diagonal ball and totally unsettle everything. They haven't had that opportunity.
But they need to, even if if it's that long ball that potentially it's going to go for a 50-50. That's fine. Win that second and third phase, get higher up the pitch, and really push Chicago back and make them think, can we press this high up the pitch? Can we maybe give a little bit of away, because we don't want to give so much of our width away?
That was siphoned off in front of Debinha, who was making a more vertical run. Sullivan, down by Solon, covered by Gautrat only for a moment. Slid to Gautrat now, who dices this through. Kalia Watt. Watt from a tight angle, pushed aside and out by Murphy.
And she just continues to impress me, and we are only 30 minutes in this match. Started as that number 9. We've seen her successful down this right-hand side, but it is how she moves off the ball. Just floats down this left-hand side position on that back shoulder of the center back. Center back doesn't see her, and then on the inside shoulder of that fullback. Then she's got that brilliant, clean first touch. Just comes off with the shot. Goalkeeper with a massive save, but this is where she can continue to build in that final third, because she is so good and so dangerous.
And now can Chicago capitalize on what's been one of the better 30-minute stretches we've seen against a Courage team. The service, header back across, and in! Chicago does have their goal. It's the 29th minute. And who got the last touch on that? To some extent, it's irrelevant. The Red Stars do lead.
You could feel the momentum of Chicago, whether it was building up, whether it was winning that midfield battle. Again, set piece opportunity. Fantastic ball. This is brilliant. Nods this one back across. She looks like she's trying to go for net, but can't get the power on it. Again, going to this back post. Goalkeeper mistake, caught off of her line, and again, makes no mistake, puts this one into the back of the net. Hill gets on the score sheet. 1-0 Chicago.
First goal of the season for Hill. That ball did not clear the line until Hill's follow, as Murphy was falling back into goal and just did swipe it away from the line. Well, for the second straight game, Chicago has taken the lead inside half an hour. And North Carolina, have they woken up, gotten off the bus now? Gautrat gets in there. McDonald. If you're Chicago, you have to feel really good that you didn't allow this great start to finish without a goal.
And these are one of those teams with North Carolina that you can have all the momentum in the world, but they have one opportunity, and 9 times out of 10, they will put the ball into the back net, even if they aren't playing great. Now, Chicago coming from a set-piece opportunity, brilliant from Hill, getting this one in, just in a little bit of a hydration break, excuse me, but Murphy, she comes a little bit high off her line. She thinks this header is going to go back across goal, so maybe the potential to come out, knock this one away, and then gets caught in kind of that half mindset. Gets caught off her line, and Hill, just that back post run. This is why that front three have been so dangerous already in this first 30 minutes. That rotation of them, the hungriness for net. I mean, the ability to drive past this back four. Kalia Watt has been all over the pitch, whether it's centrally, down the right-hand side, down the left-hand side, which just naturally pushes North Carolina's back line back early and is causing this huge, massive distance between O'Sullivan, Solon, and this back four of North Carolina. And Chicago's having a field day with it.
90-degree days, so the hydration break continues. Rachel Hill did get the final touch on this, the header back across the face of goal. That's the ruthlessness that Chicago is looking for.
And you can see Murphy, this ball goes across. She comes off of her line, sets her feet, and just doesn't get back quick enough. Again, Hill just taps this one in. All she has to do is be in the right spot at the right time. This is a big mistake from Casey Murphy, and we haven't really seen huge mistakes like this from her. She's been fairly good for North Carolina, but again, it comes from a great set-piece opportunity, and Hill being in the right spot, the right time, and a great header back in and to keep it into the mix.
Rachel Hill, second-round pick of the Portland Thorns in 2017. At Connecticut, bagged 61 goals. Spent 3 years in Orlando, and ultimately makes her way into this new-look Chicago attack over the past 2 seasons. So coming out of the hydration break, for the players at least, none of the fans left. Grateful for that. If you're North Carolina, how valuable is 2 minutes to get together, reconfigure yourselves, and get back out?
Huge. Sometimes the hydration break is the best for a struggling team because it gives you an opportunity to figure out a game plan. It gives you an opportunity to see and talk to the coach of what's going wrong. So for Chicago, it gives them an opportunity as well to keep that momentum going, drive that into players, and really have that communication with their teammates of what is working and can they continue to build on it.
Watt, touch just a little heavy. Gives room for Urseg. A rare miscue from Chicago at this stage. Mallory Pugh scored in the 4th minute against Houston. Nichelle Prince answered in the 18. You know how those Canadians do. And then Christy Mewis scored in the 83rd minute, the winner last time out against Chicago. And when you talk to Rory Dames, they just felt they weren't ruthless enough getting that goal at 1-1 that could have separated them and given them a chance to carry all 3 points home. Well, you've got your goal now. It's a combination of you're going to need to be ruthless to try and get a second and continue to be as tremendous as you've been defensively. Caldwell, no. Fabinho was trying to latch on. Mallory Pugh has an option percolating down the middle, and what? It's Pugh. That pittered out, and Pugh a little bit lame coming up off that run. Walking a bit gingerly out of it.
This all starts with a brilliant work defensively before Mallory Pugh gets this one. It's Goutra that slides, wins this ball in the midfield. The quick outlet pass, she gets up, finds Mallory Pugh driving at this back line. Mallory Pugh needs to release this earlier. It's a 2v1. She needs to release Kalia Watt wide open in that space.
DiBernardo for Hill. Pickett did get that over the line. I don't know that there are many more terrifying things in the NWSL than being a center back and having Mallory Pugh with 45 yards of green space out in front of her. That's the exciting part of Mallory Pugh, but that little nuance there could be the game changer. Done between Kruger and Gordon.
And Mike, I want to jump back to your point because these two players have been brilliant in this match with Waldmo and Gautrat in that defensive midfield role. Just the ability to screen for one another. When one goes high, the other one comes low and provides that support. And then the ability to live on the ball as well, get the ball off this back four and connect through the midfield.
Mewis, much better. Debinha working on Davidson. Debinha dances. Maintain possession and allows for the cross. Headed away with Mewis and McDonald nearby. Pickett. O'Sullivan. Earlier on when we spoke about the Waldmo and Gautrat combination midfield, you spoke to communication. How much of that is literally speaking versus just gaining a better understanding of what your teammate wants to do chemistry-wise?
Well, the more you speak to one another, the easier the chemistry is, because then you just do things without even having to think, because you know that player is going to be that one supporting you. So again, that takes time. It takes lots of 90-minute performances. It takes watching video footage together to see what you like, what you do together, and what you don't like. Again, building that partnership, especially in that defensive midfield role. It comes down to that communication and then just building off that week after week after week. And you're already seeing it. I mean, just dropping in for one another, cleaning up the mess, and then that quick, clean touch, just connecting that forward pass.
Been vital to keeping North Carolina at bay thus far. North Carolina side with a few more new pieces this year than perhaps years past. Mewis, a well-known figure in North Carolina, but only her second game returning from the England Women's Super League. But you've got Solon in that midfield box, which is newer figure. Caldwell in the back. No Abby Dahlkemper at present. Didn't look like there was any issue of chemistry a week ago, but it's a long season. There's going to be ups and downs now. Be easy to say you can't always score 5 goals, but if you're North Carolina, you very well could. Diagonal ball, and Watt a bit too physical with Pickett.
And it just comes down to that consistency. Debinha usually very consistent. Haven't called her name too much here tonight. O'Sullivan, just the consistency of her in that midfield. And then Solon, we saw her in that number 10 role and did well. Now dropped into this number 6 role, number 8 if you'd like, because she gets a little bit higher up the pitch than O'Sullivan. But just the consistency of this midfield 4, and that again comes with time. You have new players coming into new positions with Sam Mewis coming back in, and that naturally just drops Solon a little bit more defensively. But tonight they've just been sloppy on their passes where we haven't seen that yet before.
Early from DiBernardo. I know you always like speaking to Paul Riley, but I always find it interesting in speaking about the box. He doesn't describe it as 6s and 10s. They're 8s and 10s. It's like there are no 6s. They just play so high up the field. It's like the holding midfielder is an irrelevant theory. North Carolina into the final third, and that didn't really cross up Alyssa Nair too much. Haven't seen much at all of Lynn Williams in this game, which is a great testament to what Chicago's done, particularly in midfield, but few have the accolades and the resume Lynn Williams has in this league.
They've kept the front, I'll say, front four very quiet here tonight, because defensively they're getting their players like Mallory Pugh, Rachel Hill tucked into that midfield, making it condensed to play through, and then not allowing them to hit that quick switch. So really condensing down on that midfield platform, not allowing those defensive midfielders, like you alluded to, the 6 and 10s, to be able to hit that ball from that right-hand side to that left-hand side.
That was a Caldwell conversation. It's Casey Kruger here. So long. Free kick, North Carolina. This is beyond Dabinia.
You can see Abby Ersic frustrated, throwing her hands up again. Instead of hitting this one into the mix where you have your big players, you have your Williams, you have your Abby Ersics, they can get on the end of things, and then you have your players just sitting in underneath. They choose to play that short one down the line and doesn't come off. We've been seeing this for the last 41 minutes, passes not being hit. So it is going to take someone in the locker room, and I would hate to be in that locker room at halftime, because this is not good enough for Paul Riley. He is going to go through some of these players, and if they don't do the job in the second half, expect to see some substitutes come on around 60, if not at 45.
I'm not saying you've ever lost a game or had a bad half, but those are not fun locker rooms to be in, are they?
I've been in a locker room with Paul Riley when we haven't been playing great. It's not the best place in the world to be. But those are the coaches you want. You want a coach to hold you accountable.
Dummied through. Hill. Pop that over DiBernardo. 43rd minute, Chicago leads. Coming up at halftime here on Paramount Plus. NWSL Team of the Month announced, and representatives of both the Courage and the Red Stars made the list. Highlights and stats from the first half as well. And we'll walk you around the schedule for the weekend in the NWSL as we approach the international break. For some players, the international break has already begun. I know you're aware of that, Kalen. All the Canadians are gone. Where'd they go? This turned over to Dabinia. Lynn Williams. Williams, perhaps a bit impatient, went for goal.
And you can see North Carolina, they can come alive in moments where you don't think that anything is going to come from it. But what I like is Chicago always having a player up. It was a 5v3 there because they know of the offensive threats that North Carolina have. They only need one opportunity to put the ball into the back of the net. So defensively, you need to be switched on for a full 90-minute match when you're going against a Paul Riley side.
Looked like something was on there for Chicago. Abby Ersic trying to lead this group. He's been quite vocal in this first half. It's North Carolina hanging around, one-goal game. This is Watt leading, lofted, and that'll exit stage left from Aaron Wright.
And Watt again, I mean, this is where she thrives with her back. I mean, she thrives everywhere, but with her back towards the net, she's so good. And time again, we keep seeing North Carolina get touch tight to a player like her. You can't, because she's got the ability to spin you with a one-touch or even a no-touch pass.
comes North Carolina. Davidson steps out, plays it away from Lynn Williams. 2 additional minutes at the tail end of this first half.
Can't believe you didn't call me out, Mike. I said a no-touch pass, a no-touch turn. Excuse me, everyone. You didn't even catch that, Mike.
I thought it was clever.
Thank you. Making up my own terms today.
Digging into the playbook here. Long throw. It's toward Mewis. Deflected away. If you're like me and you've never played the game at all, much less playing it well, almost the only thing I can do is a no-touch pass. That's about it. Mewis into the pocket. Sullivan. Caldwell did find McDonald. There's Pugh. Lumped out of the defensive half. Pickett. Listen there, who's been the loneliest Red Star of all so far today. Which is a good problem to have. Listen there, a couple of years ago, had one of the great goalkeeping performances in league history against North Carolina in Cary. Who knows what the second half has in store, but the first half for her has been as quiet as ever. There should be sending us right into halftime. And a patented Paul Riley pep talk to come for North Carolina. And they can do it a lot of different ways. If this needs to be a smash and grab in the second half, so be it. We are underway in this second half. Chicago in possession in those gorgeous black kits, taking on North Carolina in Bridgeview, Illinois. As far as kit collectors go, I think this one's near the top, at the top.
Oh, I could say that about a lot. I love Gotham. I love the rebrand there. I think it was so clever.
Rachel Hill, the goal in the 29th minute. North Carolina took over the ball momentarily.
And that's what we want to see. We wanted to see McDonald drop through, get on the ball, but now it's cleaning up the passes. It's not good, and often, quite frankly, there's no more excuses for this North Carolina side.
Pickett wins the throw. See Rachel Hill there. Was acquired with, in part, a number 3 overall pick. She felt in order to develop, take the next step, potentially that would mean being uncomfortable in your surroundings, leaving Orlando, coming into Chicago. Has gotten a goal, a just reward in this game. Regular season goal number 12. First of 2021. Ball chipped over, Mewis struggling to deal with that. Murphy claims. Ball lobbed ahead, and Gordon ranges over. Nair sends this away. As far as analytics go, I think it's easy to talk about X goals. When I think about North Carolina, it's not quite what I think of. DiBernardo will send this to Murphy. I think more of a hockey term. Corsi maybe Hurricanes and Blackhawk fans are aware of. It's more where your possession is, and for North Carolina, usually that number would be extravagant. It just hasn't been that way yet today. So, Kalen, I came into halftime thinking, okay, maybe it's not surprising that North Carolina has a 0. It's the way in which they've been held off the board in this first half. Ball knocked back to Pugh. Not underneath Murphy, but able to keep it from the line. And now North Carolina starts out the other way. Just been too many giveaways in their own half. It's been surprising. Too many giveaways all over the pitch, especially in that midfield and, like you just said, in that middle part of the pitch. And then when you have those front runners, we've just seen the rotation of Watt and Pugh there once again. They're just so dangerous. They just need to be a little bit more clinical and hopefully get another ball into the back of the net, just allow a little bit of breathing room. This will be a throw for North Carolina. Another look at this breakdown in the back from North Carolina. And it's just sloppiness. There's no communication. There's no one stepping. Everyone's being really reactive instead of proactive when it comes to defending, when it comes to living on the ball. And just players get caught ball watching. And this is what's led to that opportunity of Watt and Pugh being able to have that combination play in an 18-yard box. Vanna Solon. Touch from right. Comes down into Chicago possession again. Missed header in the back. Give room for Pugh to streak onto it with Hill running down the middle. And Watt making the central run. The ball cleared away by Ursig. Dabinia. There has some work to do here. And it's an interesting tactical change from from Chicago. They've actually dropped into a 3-back, pulling Merritt Mathias centrally and having her play between the 3. Claimed by Kruger. O'Sullivan. Pickett. Solon. Vanna Solon now. Scored for Jamaica at the World Cup in 2019. Tremendous career at the University of Florida. Captained the Gators side. Well won and whisked the edge of the third. Dabinia touches again. Dabinia wouldn't be denied, but the ball ricochets off her awkwardly, and she's still down. And excuse me, just to my point that I made earlier, not Merritt Mathias. Sarah Gordon dropping centrally for Chicago, making that 3-back and having wing-back. So again, creating even more of an overload. Obviously, we saw it when they were dropped into that 4, just having the fullbacks get a little bit more involved. Mallory Pugh and Rachel Hill dropping in to create overloads as well. So not only defensively are they doing it, offensively are as well. Dabinia up and moving, the MVP of that 2019 NWSL championship game against Chicago. Scored in the 4th minute of that game. Dabinia on the move now, the Challenge Cup MVP too. And it is for Dabinia that large trophy cases were made. Stoppage belongs to Chicago. Dabinia waved back onto the field. 52 minutes in. Murphy playing way outside her penalty area. Taken on by DiBernardo. Kruger, good effort to Gautreau. McDonald trying to pounce. Got a pretty intriguing set of players in the back for Chicago if you do want to try and either spread the center backs out or try and maybe give the appearance of a 3 in or out of possession for that matter. Davidson is as good a passer of the ball as you'll find in the younger reaches of the U.S. women's national team. Gordon, really intelligent positioning, has the speed to play a little further wide than perhaps some center backs do. Tipped that early. No problem at all for Sarah Gordon. Matthias. Good work by Wright to deny Matthias. It's 2020 with a knee injury, Merritt Matthias did. Perhaps a little bit of rustiness coming out of that. All lobbed over the 6-yard box on the throw by McDonald. That's quite the weapon. North Carolina is appealing for a corner. It is a goal kick. Part of that fearsome duo up front for North Carolina. We've heard coach after coach describe that Lynn Williams and Jess McDonald, like almost any forwards on the planet, are oftentimes made better or the product themselves of the ball you get from midfield. You can't do it alone. There's just been nothing coming out of that midfield to help them yet. Here's McDonald. Sprayed into the wide channel. McDonald drives in. Got it around Davidson, but doesn't fool Alyssa Nair. Kruger has the sweeping Alyssa Nair. Nair's got the best seat in the entire stadium right now. Shade. The good kind of shade, not the bad kind of shade.
I like what you did there.
Like me missing on your joke in the first half.
It wasn't a joke, it was a mess up. Quite frankly, and you always call me out, and when you didn't.
I would never.
You always do.
Okay. That's Kaylin Kyle. Mike Watts alongside. Grammar Police. 1-0 Chicago. Hill in the 29th. McDonald has that long throw. Uncorks here. Ball flicked to the other side for Davinia. Swiped away by Nair. Had to come out with a flailing punch.
And this is what goalkeepers do. They come up big in moments. You were just touching on it. Hasn't had anything to do in 56 minutes. I think this could potentially be the first time she touches the ball. Comes out big, strong, punches this one away from danger.
In doing so, creates another opportunity here for North Carolina. With that shade, perhaps a little bit easier for Alyssa Nair on these set pieces. Pickett tries Rising attempt from Mewis. Mewis. Good ball. Look at all that space for O'Sullivan. Pass was plucked away. DiBernardo.
And I actually love this tactical adjustment that Rory Dames has come out with in the second 45 minutes to help defend with a lead at the moment.
Hill is extended forward and pushed away. Some strong-willed effort there from Solon.
And just going back to that tactical change with Rory, he's added wingbacks into this game because of the defensive work that they did before, with Pugh and Hill dropping in to make that 5 through the midfield. So now it's Davidson, Gordon, and Kruger, that back three with Wright and Hill dropping into that wingback position, adding again that, creating that overload that where they were so successful in that first 45 minutes. DiBernardo, Waldemo, and Gautreau in that midfield unit, and Watt and Pugh leading this front line.
Collision, and Wright goes down. It'll be a free kick here for North Carolina. Lewis started to extend down the line. Now Pickett will play that ball. Referee's got to let the game start again. That's part of the gig. So now North Carolina is going to have to go again after the false start, which does not come with a 5-yard penalty. And this is going to be a different idea out of the playbook now. Magic wand of Debinha. Header high from McDonald. Visit NWSLshop.com to find your club's latest gear. Support your favorite NWSL club with the latest kits, tees, hats, novelties, and more.
I need to stay away from that shop. My bank account will see zeros at the end of it.
Smoking credit card.
Yeah.
Novelties. It's a very open-ended. I think we're talking a lot more than knickknacks here. The trading cards and such. I have to say those were a good idea. Love that. When are they going to get the Legends pack of trading cards? We could slip you right in there.
I was going to say I won't be in that, but I'll pay someone maybe to put me in.
Got Sam Kerr in there, Lori Lindsay, all my faves. 62nd minute. North Carolina starting to get a better grip of this game. Pickett.
They're starting to find that tempo. Now it's, can they play quicker? Not take that extra touch, not try to force that pass in, starting to live a little bit higher up the field. So again, just in a moment and an opportunity like this, Pickett left isolated, a 1v1. Can she have some support in order for that outlet pass to get maybe a better angle for the ball to get into the box with numbers?
Not help to maintain it. 28 minutes to go for Chicago. It is so early in the season, it almost hurts to say. This will get them over the playoff line, but then it's a marathon, not a sprint. Being below the playoff line going into the international break is hardly make or break for any team. But still a statement of fact according to the standings. For North Carolina, they could move right beneath Orlando, top the table with a win today should they come from behind. 4 games in, were you ever looking at the standings?
No.
Okay.
Maybe like once you hit that halfway mark in the season and potentially if you are below that red, you'd maybe do the math, and I was always terrible at math, but I'm still terrible at math, let's be honest. But you'd always look to it, okay, how many games do we need to win in order to make the playoffs? But you would never, it's always one game at a time.
I think this is a good change with Haley Mace coming on. It's something you were thinking about at the end of the first half.
And this is what I touched on. Paul Riley obviously going into that locker room not happy with the results, especially within that midfield four with Mewis, Dabinia, O'Sullivan, and Solon. All have been quiet. Not one of them have been a bright spot yet in this game. So bringing someone like Mace off the bench just to add that spark that this North Carolina team needs.
And then Hamilton has come on for McDonald at the stoppage as well. Clarence Karam's out the other way. And Chicago playing with speed. Makes ball deflected. Right on the back of Mace.
Just bringing someone like Mace on just naturally drops Sam Mewis a little bit deeper, and I think that is what North Carolina needs. They need someone with Mewis on the ball. They need to add this spark to this team. A leader with someone that can live on the ball, dictate the tempo, and dictate the pace.
To be fair, McDonald just came off, I think, shared your sentiment about math, said second grade math last year as a parent teacher, so to speak, felt like college. Everyone had to play a different role in 2020.
Especially the moms out there. I mean, having to be parents at home with kids that can't go to school, so manage that, then have to switch the mindset of going to training and be a leader on the pitch and off the pitch, and Jess McDonald makes it look so easy.
Mace. This is scooped up. Spoke about all the memories that were created in that bubble. I just got a chance to see the WNBA's documentary about their bubble. Just a fascinating experience in an extraordinary time in all of our lives. This will come bouncing back. The clearance was a bit iffy. Nair, anything but.
And I do not mind this from Mewis. Touched on it in the first 45 minutes. Can you play that Route 1 football? Can you push Chicago's back line back? And in order to open up that midfield space, because there hasn't been any. They've dropped 5 through that midfield with it, whether it's that wing back or whether we saw in that first half dropping the wingers down to create the overload. So again, I don't mind this from Mewis. And already seeing Mewis drop into that defensive midfield role, she's getting on the ball.
This will get out to Dabinia. High arcing ball, open header at the back post. Nair able to touch this aside. Lynn Williams, first good opportunity toward target in this game.
And this is what subs can do for a match. They can change the momentum. They can change the tempo. This is the first time we've seen Dabinia roll outside in this wide channel. Usually we see players like Jess McDonald do this work. So again, bringing someone like Hamilton and bringing someone like Mace off the bench, pushing Mewis back, it's added a different dynamic to North Carolina.
And now North Carolina will go short on the corner. Good pick set by Carson. So come out to Mace. Mace rolled in toward the penalty spot and now gets wide. Mace did score twice, the 75th minute and the 90th minute as a substitute against Louisville a week ago. That 5-0 result.
And already we're seeing North Carolina with 4 shots total, 2 in that first half, and already since those subs come off, 2 more shots. So again, can they keep building momentum? Because usually we see 12 to 13 shots a half, not on target, but an opportunities at net.
This lost by North Carolina. Gautreau leading Pugh. Didn't have the support, so Pugh returns. DiBernardo. Good idea. but escapes. Dabinia dribbles through chance of let's go Red Stars in Bridgeview. Chicago side that makes the playoffs year after year, denied in the final in 2019 by this very North Carolina side. And for all that's changed between these teams, around this league, around the world, one thing remains: you're always going to have a knockdown drag-out when these sides do get together. Davidson to take the corner. Youngest player on the American squad at the World Cup in 2019. Davidson delivers. Hit on the first time. That was on target, DiBernardo. Chicago side that's trying to pilot without Julie Ertz. Leading here for Hamilton. And the tremendous growth of Sarah Gordon over the past 2 years helps to cover some of the loss of Julie Ertz. Pickett. Pickett comes out to Mace. Matthias. This is the second phase of the corner kick that Rory Dames felt let them down against Houston. Change coming here for Chicago.
Your attention, please. Substitution.
Alyssa Motts will come on in the 71st minute. And Rachel Hill, scoring in the 29th minute, gave Chicago the lead.
And Rachel Hill put in a massive shift here today. Again, getting knotted back across, right place, right time, but that is a brilliant goal from her. Again, the defensive work she did to drop back, make 5 through that midfield to create that overload, and just the tactical shift into this second half, coming in almost playing in that wing back role. Great shift from her, great 70 minutes, and a well-deserved goal.
And Alyssa Motts comes on. It is her first appearance since the 2019 NWSL season. Alyssa Motts, one of those old reliable players for this Chicago franchise. Very much part of the building, so to speak, part of the foundation.
And a player that can come on and close down this game. They don't want to drop too defensively to give too much away for North Carolina. They've been great winning this first and second phase and winning this midfield battle. So can they play a little bit of that cat and mouse? Not drop back too far, which allows North Carolina to gain that space and gain the momentum, but then not to be caught out and have those team parts opened up by pressing individually instead of as a team.
Will go all the way to Kruger. Motts, by the way, 8 years with the Red Stars.
And back-to-back ACL tears. I mean, to be able to come back from that, that just shows a lot, not only about her personality on the pitch, but what she's like off the pitch, a workhorse, and wants to win and has that winning mindset, because you don't come back after 2 ACLs and continue to push and continue to want, you know, that winning performance. So standing ovation for when she came in today, and well deserved.
And loud chants from the supporters, which one would imagine had to be a really good feeling after that first ACL in May of 2019. Rolled ahead and slid out now. And you talk to players in various sports, various leagues, it was so much more difficult for players dealing with significant injuries over the past 12 months, just based on the pandemic going on around them. Oftentimes, you're stuck at home. It's even difficult to find a place to rehab. Really extraordinary time. It is a corner here for North Carolina. Ball was knocked down. Unable to turn on it on Caldwell's header. Punched up again. Headed down by Mace. Williams retrieves. Pickett orchestrates. Dabinia.
And you can feel North Carolina slowly come back into this game, and moments of what North Carolina can do in that final third. So now it's just that final pass, that cross, or that quick release, not trying to take 2, 3, 4 players on, but it comes with players coming off the bench and is really added to this game, and one being Mace.
Pushed upfield again, Hamilton. And with Mace, some of this is to be fit, and North Carolina fit are different. Paul Riley's made reference to that, but also they want, and Reddit had a field day with this comment about a month ago, the idea that Haley Mace will be a ball hunter as much in this system as anything else. I mean, you're expecting Mace in that role higher up the field to be all over the place, whether it's for 90 minutes or in this substitute role, maybe 30 a better fit right now.
I think she's really proving a point that she can do a lot of things for this North Carolina. I mean, she's got the ability to score goals, close games out, and come on and add a spark into whatever the game needs and whatever the game holds.
1-0 Chicago. We've hit a hydration break in the 76th minute. Kalia Watt has drawn a lot of praise from you, and for good reason.
She really has. Yes, Rachel Hill got the go-ahead goal, but for me, player of the match has been Kalia Watt for numerous reasons. The ability to get down the right-hand side, the left-hand side, this center back channel run. She is so good on the ball, but it's what she does off the ball that makes her so dangerous. Here again, playing on the opposite side between that center back, full back channel. She's been an absolute handful, putting shots on target, getting other players involved, and had numerous opportunities from different players on the pitch to get her the ball early, and they just picked the wrong pass. They tried to take 2, 3 players on. Kalia Watt could have, and potentially, if that ball was released, 2 or 3 goals tonight.
Kalia Watt in this Chicago side trying to see this out. Those are the numbers, and I don't think there's a coach in the league that wouldn't take that out of one of your front 3 day to day. Love the interview Kalia Watt's husband JJ Watt had last week on CBS's Champions League coverage, saying, I get to watch my Chelsea, and then I get to watch Kalia later in the day on CBS Sports Network. So that one very much all in the network family. Of course, his Chelsea won. My Chelsea won. Change coming here for North Carolina at that stoppage. Bring on Carrie Riccaro. And Sam Mewis exits here. Went 71 minutes in her return from Manchester, and now goes 76 minutes today.
And Paul Riley definitely trying to build the fitness up with Mewis. Obviously, coming into this league, we were on the call with him this week saying that she's not quite there yet. Obviously, Paul Riley knows how to get players fit, but he's really making a statement with the substitutes and who he is taking off the pitch here tonight.
All the flex over. DiBernardo. This will find Hamilton. Hamilton created a bit of space, but closed down. Brilliant from Chicago. And this will go all the way back to the other side. And Murphy. Chicago trying to keep North Carolina from finding any daylight at this point.
I knew you were going to say it. You couldn't help yourself. Calling me out. I did say nighttime. It's an afternoon day, guys. Just keeping everyone on their toes on Saturday today, right? Not Sunday?
Is it?
Don't know.
Hamilton, Mace.
It's nighttime in that shadow over there by the net.
Yeah, right. Ball across, and from a different time zone, scooped up by Nair. Nair, goalkeeper of the year back in 2014, and looking for that 33rd shutout. Trails Nicole Barnhart in that category. That's rarefied air. Gordon getting all the way out to the touchline. Lynn Williams accepts a throw. Caro came on a moment ago. Ryan Williams did as well. So 4 substitutes used by North Carolina: Hamilton, Recaro, Mason, Williams. Paul Riley seeks an answer here with 10 minutes in stoppage time to go. Bernardo, arms extended. Kruger drops back in. Watt wasn't going to get there. Stripped from Debinha. Taken back by North Carolina. Seeking Debinha. That cleared away. Across the face, an attacking player. Chance to strike this across the face from Recaro.
Your attention, please. Substitution for your Chicago Red Stars in the 82nd minute of play.
Kalia Watt's going to come off. Katie Johnson.
Replacing number 2, Amiel Watt.
And now that is service.
Player of the match for me, hands down. All over the pitch defensively, all over the pitch offensively, has led this front line, and both on and off the ball. I think that's one thing that Kalia Watt does so extremely well. Even when she's having maybe an off game, she really leads by example. She's that leader. She gets stuck in. She's not scared to make a tackle or to get a tackle on her. And her ability to play with her back towards the net is one of the best in this league.
Second substitution for Chicago. Motts came on for Hill earlier, and now Johnson for Watt. Injured player back behind the play here for Chicago. That's Waldmo.
And I love this from DiBernardo, just out of your screen there on the left, just organizing. Yes, there's a player down and an opportunity she's using to organize her team defensively. They're 1-0 up against a very good North Carolina side that they know that they can score goals. And she's someone that has played for Chicago for many, many years, and she's guiding them. She's telling them, we need to be hard defensively. We need to be stuck in the midfield, and really our front line with our substitutes that have come on with fresh leg. Can we get pressure on early?
Waldmo makes her way off. Waldmo described previously as the silent assassin when she was playing at Sky Blue, the club now known as Gotham. All flown upfield. Lynn Williams bracketed. Alyssa Motts did the job there. North Carolina only has one sub left to use, and they'll use it now with 6 minutes to go. So Lawn comes off, and Brittany Ratcliffe will come on.
This tells you everything you need to know about this match. Paul Riley has made 3 substitutes in that midfield. Yes, Mew is probably just to get her fitness up, but wasn't great on the day. O'Sullivan off as well, Solon off as well, and Jess McDonald. Those are 4 of your top players on this team that have made substitutes. And quite frankly, the subs that have come in have made a great difference. Hamilton up top, Mason that midfield.
And that speaks to the depth of North Carolina, doesn't it? That you have game changers that you can bring off the bench.
And absolutely, and Paul Riley is someone that's not scared to make those kind of substitutes. A lot of coaches might.
Williams, header looping off target. Ratcliffe immediately gets on the field and finds an open header.
And that's one thing that Paul Riley, you can respect him so much as a coach. Even if you come in as a national team player, if you're not fit, if you don't fit that playing style that he wants on that particular day, he's not scared to drop you. He's not scared to not start you, excuse me, and he's not scared to bring you off the pitch if you aren't doing your job.
There's a culture that's created in doing that, isn't it? The international break closing in, and the Olympics to follow shortly thereafter. Big points on the line here. Chicago still the advantage. That service from Williams. Sky's out of play. Free kick, Chicago. Nayer's made 1 save today, that's it. This has been as complete a performance as we've seen from the Red Stars yet this year.
I love that you use that word, complete performance. Now, can they do this for 90 minutes? Only a few moments left in this match. They've been brilliant defensively. They've been fantastic in that transition. And then in that final third, they could have been better, and they were good tonight. They weren't bad whatsoever, but it was just a few opportunities where a missed pass or tried to take too many touches.
Deflects off of Pickett, comes back to Ursig. And Debinha whisks this forward. Mace holding up play and pulled down. That may be use of the first card of this game. Waldmo with a tactical foul. The yellow card did come out.
The yellow card caution has been issued in the 88th minute of play to Chicago Red Stars at 16-0.
This finds Ryan Williams driving the service, headed away by Chicago. Pickett got a piece, maintains possession. Turn from Recaro. One of the players who perhaps was most improved for North Carolina last year, the benefit of the Challenge Cup in the Fall Series. Ryan Williams. Corner North Carolina.
And this isn't meant to sound disrespectful whatsoever, but the substitutes have been the best player for North Carolina here tonight. Recaro, Hamilton, Mace, Williams, they've all come on and they've all added something to this game, whether it's a good ball into the box, whether it's taking 2-3 players on, or just winning that second and third phase.
Pickett, header down. Peel for a corner. There appeared to be multiple deflections on that. It is a goal kick for Chicago with 90 ticks and stoppage time remaining. Gordon, Kruger, Debinha wants to win it back. We are in the 90th minute now. Chicago felt like their midfield could go toe-to-toe with the vaunted North Carolina box. It did that and more. He said there's no fear. Sometimes it feels like teams that take on North Carolina are a bit psyched out before they even get on the field. Chicago has always shown a penchant for giving North Carolina all they can handle. And they've looked the part. They'll look to close in on 3 points. Mace. Waldmo. Six additional minutes. Here we go. You start adding hydration breaks into this, Kalen, you're going to be going a while.
I was wondering where the 6 minutes came from, and then obviously the hydration break.
No goals, 1 card in this second half.
And it was a quick card. It was a running card.
Pugh to the corner. He's had a lesser impact in this second half, but perhaps by design, as Chicago has closed down North Carolina quite well.
Well, and they changed tactically as well. Instead of going with 3 up top, went to 2 with Pugh and Watt leading that front line. Again, trying to close out this game, maybe potentially not going for that second goal. They're happy with the work they've done defensively. They dropped those wing backs in to create the overloads, but it wasn't necessarily to create the overloads with those 3 front-running players and to overexert them. So well done from Rory Dames. From start to finish, can they close out this game? Because they've been brilliant on both sides of the ball.
Driven toward midfield, picked up by Haley Mace. Williams didn't anchor that on the touchline. Wow. That's a golf shot. Careens off Johnson, more time escapes. 2 of the 6 minutes are gone. skipping ahead. Moved down by right, cleared away. Slide in there, picked up by Gautreau. Motts. So far, you can't ask much more out of Chicago in stoppage time.
North Carolina just can't find a solution. I mean, Chicago have been all over the place, and cramping happening here from DiBernardo because of the shift that they put in defensively, offensively, getting the work back so they don't get caught in the transition with North Carolina. North Carolina are a team that can catch you out. They can punish you with just one opportunity, and Chicago hadn't even allowed that yet here today. But we got 6 minutes of stoppage time, so anything can happen.
DiBernardo makes her way off with the athletic trainer in tow. Nikki Stanton will come on. This is her third appearance. She's played 8 minutes this year. And Rory Dames, hoodie in all weather, has made his third change in his third window. DiBernardo probably didn't get the credit at times she deserved today.
No, we didn't give her the credit that she deserved. I mean, I talked about the other two midfielders. She was just as brilliant in this game. Her work rate all over the pitch. Again, she's been in and out of that 11, and really here tonight solidifying her spot of why she is such a leader with this Chicago team.
Was available last game but did not play. Those 94 minutes today and helped key to midfield for Chicago. That is completely flummoxed North Carolina. A late pressure. Johnson helping to stymie North Carolina again. Pugh holding up play. This will send Johnson on the run. Pugh. Well, we'll take another few seconds off, and North Carolina is closing in on maybe their last gasp to pull a point out of this trip to Chicago. Kruger on a ball that was emblematic of the day.
Kruger's been brilliant as well. We haven't given her enough credit. Defensively, so good, not allowing North Carolina to get in behind. We know that North Carolina love that width play. They love playing wide, getting players like a McDonald or a Lynn Williams just to float out wide, or that late midfield run with Davinia. They've completely shut that down this game. Again, the tactical change, and in the second half has allowed them to do that. And in the first half, just having Pugh and Watt dropping in on that width play to create the overloads. They've nullified everything from North Carolina here today, not tonight.
Trouble perhaps, Nair. Is that the last nail in North Carolina's coffin for the day? Will they get one last chance here? That's not the final whistle. That's an attempt to get the ball to move just a bit further back. Taken here by Chicago. Pickett navigating. Mace delivering. Nair's got it. We thought 6 might have been excessive. We might get to 7. And Chicago on the verge of 3 massive points. Nair. And this one's over. Chicago knocks off North Carolina. Rachel Hill, the game winner. Their most complete performance of the year. Or is it? The offside flag is up. The crowd is going crazy. Rory Dames' arms were extended. We're at 7 minutes. Goodness.
You know who we haven't given credit to? Rory Dames in a hoodie and 91 degrees heat here today.